up? It's Callista, and today I'm going to be walking you guys through a game that I purchased, I want to say, at the end of last year, so around October 2016 or so, when it was pretty new, called Battlerite. Now, Battlerite is a PC game that you can play through Steam. It is, I believe, I can check on what the pricing is and I can put it in the description below in terms of how much it costs now. I think I bought it when it was on sale. But it's a pretty fun game, and what I will walk you guys through is basically kind of the general structure of the game, the look and feel, and you can kind of figure out if it's right for you. So the first thing to talk about is the characters, right? So Battlerite, the way that it's been marketed is very much like a MOBA. So if you're thinking of League of Legends, you're thinking of Dota, you're thinking of Heroes of the Storm, with this kind of two-dimensional flat layout where you have this kind of like third-person perspective kind of from the top to bottom. It's very similar in the look and feel, and you're going to see that in the gameplay. But even when you think about the characters, we have the kind of the same thing going on. So all the characters that you see here on your right are comprised of 4 different areas. So the one that I have clicked on right now, her name is Paloma. She is a support, and she is from the West. Now, the reason that the areas are important, West, East, South, North, is because depending on what the quests of the day are, it might ask you to win, win 3 matches with a hero from the South. So that's kind of where this comes into play. It doesn't necessarily impact what they can do, but you are going to see your range type characters, melee type characters. Let's see what else we have. Support. So these guys are healers for the most part. You have quite a bit of range. And your melee is comprised of both guys that are going to do a ton of damage, but also guys that you could almost use like tanks, right? So if you're thinking of a tank, I mean, that shield, I mean, if that's not tanky, I don't know what is. I mean, that is pretty awesome. They actually got it in one of the boxes after a match, and I was so excited. Oh, and he's blonde. I didn't notice that. I guess that changes with the skin. So, pretty cool character development, I would say. Each of them are very, very different from each other. You're going to have Pearl, for example, looks so cute and not intimidating, and when you go against her in these matches, you totally want to smash your head into a wall. Like, she is just such a pain to kill, right? Because she's like attacking you with kind of these like water spells, and she's tough to catch, and she is kind of transforming water into these like crazy attacks. She's rejuvenating, basically healing herself and her allies. It's just really difficult, right? And you have Paloma, who also is another heal. She's super fun. She has a little buddy that she takes with her into battle, and she can do all sorts of things like kind of porting across the map, and she can also do tremendous damage. So the cool thing here is that even though you're seeing support characters, these same support characters, even though they are healing, they do damage, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna play support, how boring, all I'm gonna do is heal. Not at all. You are dealing a tremendous amount of damage, and you almost have to remind yourself to heal, right? Because that's very important. You're also going to notice at the very bottom of the screen underneath the character, it'll say 2v2 or 3v3. Those are the 2 standard modes in the game. You can go 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3. Typically, they will check both of them off for you. And in terms of the different types of games, you can have your quick match, and you can kind of see on the left, you're able to invite friends that are also kind of playing on Steam. They have League, which is kind of ranked play, and you have a certain number of placement matches that you do, and then you get a rank, and you can go up and down. You have private matches. Where did I just go? You have private matches that you can do, which is really great if you want to just practice. They have what they call the playground, which is really practice mode. They have tutorials. They have versus the AI. So they have quite a bit, it feels like. They're very heavy on the practicing piece, right? Like, they definitely want to make sure people know how to play. I would say from a community perspective, that's a question I think that always comes up with games, right? Like, which game has like a cancerous community? These guys, I've played a bit in here. It definitely, if you miss something, or If you're not keeping your team up, you're definitely going to hear it, right? But it isn't a tremendously chatty type of game where you're getting a ton of feedback and everybody's constantly talking. So it's kind of good because I think if you do really well, you know, you will get friend requests, and then you can start playing with people that kind of understand the game and understand roles. I think it's really important. You have a huge advantage when you can kind of piggyback off of each other, right? And pick characters that work well together and that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and click through for a quick match so I can show you guys what the gameplay looks like. And this is the matchmaking system. So quick play is pretty simple in terms of the matchmaking. I don't have, you know, a placement or a rank yet, so it doesn't matter. And you're going to notice that the maps tend to look fairly similar to each other. They have rolled out some additional maps, I've noticed, in the past few months, which is nice. And you're going to see on the lower left, that's the chat. So again, it's not this like prominent, huge part of the game, and every time that you're queuing with new people. So that's also good, right? Because you might end up getting paired with someone that you just did not mesh well with, and then all of a sudden you don't have to play with them anymore after the matches are done. In the very beginning of the game, you're going to notice it's going to ask you to choose a Battlerite. A Battlerite basically is where you want your character to focus. You're going to have, you know, a support. Do you want the support to have a stronger attack? Do you want them to have stronger healing? Do you want them to be faster? And it'll ask you this before each match. So you can kind of go, you can spread them across, right? So you'll see that each column has a kind of different color, and those colors correspond to attack versus, it says like affection, specter, vengeful spirit, depending on which character it is, those things will change. I could say I want to be a stronger attacker for this match. If we start going against two, let's say, assassins that are very fast, I might want to try to find if there's a Battlerite that is more speed focused. So here you also can see that we do ride out on mounts, which is kind of cool. You can see this is, I think this is a tank. And remember, this is a support, so I can heal, but again, I can also do some damage. So here I was totally slaying super fast. It's been a long time since I played. But you can kind of see what's going on here, right? So they're still kind of battling it back and forth. My teammate is doing pretty well. It's hard when it's 2v1. I'm sorry, bro. So we lost a round. The MVP of the round was mine. It's kind of cool that they do this. They let you know kind of who the MVP of the round was. And then you go for round 2. It's best out of 3, I believe. So here we want to make sure we're kind of checking to see which one makes most sense depending on what we want to do. So this is movement speed. My character tends to be pretty slow, and these guys, they do have one character that is quite fast. So this is going to help me move faster when we are in the match. So again, it's one of those things where it allows you to make some split game time decisions where the speed is going to be totally helpful, right? And here I am healing. I'm trying to replenish some of my health. I have to make sure I'm kind of keeping him up. He's going to try to kill me, yeah. So as a support, you do tend to be quite squishy. And I was trying to see if I could regen some health to help my buddy here, but he's doing pretty good. And there is also an ultimate move, so I haven't been able to get to that yet, but I will. So I can show you guys kind of what that looks like. But it does, each character does have an ultimate move that they're able to do. So you can see it is very kind of two-dimensional, right? So it's almost like some of the like Dota, League of Legends type games, but without having to worry about like the towers and the AI type games, and they make it strictly a arena-based PvP game. That's truly what it is, right? So I feel like this game, when you think about the pros, it's a pretty game, it's slick, it's well done, it's not buggy. They fixed a lot of the stuff that they had kind of going on in the beginning where there were like massively long wait times, so you wait for like 5 minutes. It's much, much better when it comes to that. But in terms of you know, the enjoyability I think is high, but I don't think it has the longevity of it. So you can, and yay, he won. You can play this for a while, but I don't think if you're playing, especially if you're random queuing, you can necessarily play for, you know, 2 or 3 hours at a time. This is definitely the game that you kind of log on, you play for like 30 minutes, and you're like, oh, that was cool, and kind of move on. Just because this can get a little bit, you know, tiring in the sense that it's not a lot of like changing scenery. You are doing PvP, which is super fun. I actually do love doing PvP in World of Warcraft. I played League of Legends. But I think the 2v2 and the 3v3 can make it a little bit less exciting. 3v3 for me is a lot more exciting than 2v2. But unfortunately, it's easier to queue in 2v2, so it's hard to see 3v3 come up all that often. But sometimes you do, and that's awesome when that does happen. Let's see. I don't know if he's going to do this. Bummer. We lost that round. So you can see it's actually not the best of 3. It is whoever reaches 3 wins first, right? So this could theoretically go for a long time, and it's 2-minute matches. And you can see here, this will be kind of like our point structure across the board. So you can see in the last match, I made 96 points, he made 79. He did less damage than I did. I think the problem right now is we are both not necessarily big damage dealers, right? And we're against someone who is. So let's see what we can do. We probably have to target someone together. That's usually the best thing to do. Oh, Boomer. And you can see he did a ton of damage there, which is awesome. I feel super bad. I feel like I totally should be practicing. So it's been a really long time since I've played this game. And that's the thing. It's one of these games where, at least for me personally, I don't feel like I need to play it every day or every week even. When I think about all the other things that I like to play, this is kind of one of those where I'm like, I'm in the mood to play a couple of matches of Battlerite, right? And I'll play like the first 2 and I'll totally suck as I'm trying to remember what Q does and what E does and what W does. And then by the time I feel kind of comfortable with it, well, I'm kind of like over it and don't necessarily want to keep playing. So you can kind of see this is 1 out of 3 victories, like how many victories I need to get some gold. I leveled up, which is nice. Yeah, and then you have different things that you can do. So you have gold, you also have these stones. You can use those for skins and things like that. You also have quests that you can do, and inside each of those boxes you do get different prizes. So I would say in general, this is a very pretty game. I think it's fun to play. I wouldn't necessarily say it's one of those games that you're going to be playing every day. I think it definitely has, you know, those moments where you're kind of like in the mood for something that's light and you can kind of just jump in and jump out really quickly, and that's kind of what this game is. It's probably tons more fun if you can play it with friends in 2v2 or 3v3 because you can coordinate a lot more rather than just dropping in with somebody brand new every single time that you're playing a round. If you have questions or comments on this game, would love to hear them. Feel free to describe what your kind of thinking is on the game down below. Until next time, thank you.